I went for the insult to the headed on.
Yeah, insult to him. That's the move, as we just established. Oh, we are live. We are live. We can't be joking around. Hey, everybody, and good evening, and welcome. This is this is Saturday night here on Live Long and Podcast, and this is I've lost count, the 15th episode for Star Trek Radio Theater. Can you believe it? Wow. This is great. This is in our new rotation, our Deep Space Nine week, and we're excited to bring you an episode from their 6th season, their 21st episode from that season, called The Reckoning, which was a story by David Weddle and Bradley Thompson. The story originally by Harry Werksman and Gabrielle G. Stanton, but then the teleplay was by the aforementioned people. And this is a great story of sort of good and evil, kind of into the mythology of Deep Space Nine. It was the most serialized Star Trek show. So you're kind of jumping in this middle of this Dominion War story that has a lot going on. They talk very much in the beginning about how that's been playing out. But then there's this, in the greater arc of the show, how this story between the prophets and the Pa-wraiths, which are kind of like the angels and demons of the Deep Space Nine storyline, even though they're actually wormhole aliens, but worshipped by the Bajorans as gods. So there's a lot going on with all that, with the symbolism and religion, and a lot more bigger ideas, which is great. I'll introduce the cast afterwards, but we hope you enjoy the performance, and let's get going.
Baden, we focus on wardroom. Sisko is briefing his senior staff about the war with the Dominion. Dax, Worf, Bashir, and Kira are seated at the table. Odo stands near the window. The mood is somber.
The Dominion has solidified its hold on the Calandra sector. They're trying to establish a supply line running through Betazoid space into the Argolis cluster.
If they succeed, they will be able to launch an attack against Vulcan.
Starfleet's going to try to cut them off near the Tibor Nebula. The 7th Fleet will be engaging the enemy in the morning.
The 7th Fleet is still at half strength. They took heavy losses at Ciberon.
Well, let's just hope they can get the job done. On a happier note, I do have a bit of good news.
That makes welcome change.
The Romulans have forced the Dominion to retreat from the Benzite system.
That is good news. The question is, will the Romulans be willing to leave Benzar after the war is over? Once they capture territory, they rarely give it up.
Right now, we need to concentrate on beating the Dominion. We'll worry about the Romulans later.
Odo backs off with a shrug.
As some of you already know, Major Kira, Jake, and I will be leaving for Bajor at 2200.
There's a war on. This is no time for a vacation.
The archaeologists excavating Valhalla found something they want the emissary to see.
We'll be returning tomorrow night. That's all, people.
Everyone leaves, except Kira and Odo. This is one of their new rituals, hanging back after a staff meeting to share an intimate moment together.
Will the Romulans leave Benzar? You love to bring up the worst case scenarios in these meetings, don't you?
Somebody has to. Besides, everyone expects me to be dour and suspicious. I don't want to disappoint them.
If they only knew the real you.
This is the real me, at least as far as everyone is concerned.
They move their faces close to each other as if they are going to kiss, and then just awkwardly press their noses together. We focus on the tunnel. Ranjen Koral, an old but vigorous Bajoran monk, leads Sisko, Kira, and Jake down a gloomy passageway. The passage is dimly lit with makeshift lights. Support beams line the ceiling and the rough contours of the walls. Although a deeply religious man, Koral wears the practical work clothes of a veteran archaeologist. I can't tell you how pleased we are by your visit, emissary.
Glad to be here, Ranjen.
Oh, there's no need to keep calling me Ranjen. I'm a simple monk. My order is quite informal.
You've certainly been busy. The last time I visited the ruins, none of these tunnels had been cut yet.
It's been a great deal of work, but we do it gladly. Excavating the holy city is a privilege. Our efforts are an expression of our faith in the prophets and in the emissary. Sisko accepts this with a gracious nod.
It's very inspiring to see.
Kira and Jake follow several paces behind. Kira notices that Jake is studying his father closely.
Something wrong, Jake?
No, it's just Dad seems to be taking his role as emissary very seriously these days.
You say that like he thinks it's a bad thing.
You have to admit, it's a long way to come to see some old ruins.
They may have found some very important religious artifacts in these old ruins.
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, I don't have a story.
Hey, try to look like you're enjoying yourself. Your father needs this. It's good for him not to have to think about the Dominion for a few hours.
Koral rounds a corner and leads them down the passage. A movement in the shadows, the flutter of wings in the darkness. Oh, don't let the bats bother you. Jake pauses, nervously scanning the ceiling with his palm beacon.
Don't worry, they rarely bite.
Rarely?
We're directly below the Temple of Bahala. These walls predate the ancient city by 10,000 years. They stop in front of the remains of a carving on the wall.
Who built this place?
We don't know much about the original inhabitants, but it appears they abandoned this site some 25,000 years ago. Over time, sediment buried the ruins.
And then Mahala was built on top of them?
Precisely. Koral motions towards another cave. In here. Kira, Jake, and Sisko follow Koral into the tunnel. We focus on a chamber. Koral switches on fluorescent tubes at knee height and leads them past a square column to an oval recess carved like a familiar Bajoran symbol. It's over 30,000 years old. Sisko looks closely at the tablet, which displays passages composed of ancient Bajoran ruins. Parts of the inscription have been broken away or obscured by erosion and cracks.
These inscriptions, they look like ancient Bajoran, but I can't quite make it out.
Neither can we, though we've been able to piece together a few of the translations. The syntax is unusual, but all forms of Bajorans share certain root ideograms. You may recognize this one. Sisko leans in to get a better look.
Welcome.
Here's where it gets interesting. Kira comes in for a closer look as well, then looks at Sisko in concern. I see you recognize it. Jake doesn't, but he can see that Sisko and Kira are amazed by what they've read.
What? I don't?
It says, "Welcome, emissary."
Now you know why I asked you here. Sisko suddenly finds himself in the middle of a room in an altered reality. Sisko tries to reorient himself and finds Kira. Koral and Jake are no longer where he last saw them. They have become the prophets, wormhole aliens, cold and remote. They ignore Sisko completely, although their statements do bear some relation to his questions. Koral stands behind the stone tablet. The prophets speak to Sisko in the form of Koral, Kira, and Jake. The Sisko has come.
The circle is complete.
The reckoning must begin.
The reckoning?
Much will depend on the Sisko.
He is corporeal.
Limited.
He is the Sisko. He will not waver.
He is Bashir.
He will bring the reckoning.
What is it you expect of me?
It will be the end.
Or the beginning.
I don't understand.
The Sisko will know.
The connection breaks and Sisko is thrown back across the room. He lands on his back, unconscious. Kira helps Sisko to a sitting position as Jake and Ranjen Koral look on with concern. Fade out.
Good. Okay.
Fade in. We focus on the chamber.
Dad, are you okay?
Kira and Jake help Sisko to his feet. He looks around, tries to get his bearings.
Yeah, right. The prophets, they were here. They spoke to me.
You had a vision, emissary? We saw nothing.
What did they say?
They mentioned something about a reckoning. Is that part of some prophecy?
Not one that I know of. Jake tries to contain his mounting anxiety.
Let's get out of here.
It's all right, Jake. We'll be leaving soon.
Sisko turns to study the tablet.
I've got to find out what these inscriptions say.
I wish we could translate them more quickly, but we don't have the resources. Sisko traces the letters on the tablet thoughtfully.
Fortunately, we do.
We focus on the science lab. The tablet stands on an examining table. Dax has just completed a series of scans.
I had a pretty good idea what this was that I laid eyes on it. That confirms it. It's a slab of stone with some writing on it.
Dax.
What do you want me to say, Benjamin? I'm not picking up any residual energy readings, certainly nothing that would explain how it threw you across the room.
Sisko takes this in for a moment.
I want you to translate the inscriptions.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
The Ranjen's translation program is not complete, but at least it's a start. Good luck.
And with that, Sisko exits, leaving Dax with her task. We focus on the promenade. As Sisko passes the temple, a Bajoran Ranjen is standing outside ringing the bell to announce services. Services are about to begin. Captain, services are about to begin. Sisko starts to enter the temple when...
Us to Captain Sisko.
Go ahead.
We just received a major communication from Bashir. Kai Winn is on her way to the station.
Sisko leaves the temple. We focus on the airlock. As Kai Winn enters from a Bajoran shuttle, accompanied by two monks, Sisko is waiting to greet her.
Welcome to Deep Space Nine, Your Eminence.
Winn is seething over the fact that Sisko took the tablet off Bajor without consulting her, but she hides it behind a cool smile.
Thank you, emissary.
What brings you to the station?
I should think that would be clear. You removed an artifact from an archaeological site without consulting the Vedic Assembly.
I meant no disrespect.
Winn enjoys having the chance to skewer Sisko, but she does it behind her mask of politeness.
You can understand how we would be sensitive to such matters. During the occupation, the Cardassians plundered Bajor's historical treasures as if it was their right. I never imagined that you would behave in such a manner.
I assure you that the artifact will be returned as soon as I've finished studying it.
I was not aware that you had such expertise in Bajoran history.
I don't.
Then why not leave this artifact in the hands of those who do? There are scholars on Bajor who have devoted their lives to the study of such things.
I understand, but I brought it here because I believe that's what the prophets want.
I see. Then, I take it has something to do with your vision?
Exactly.
Forgive me, emissary. I didn't realize that the prophets told you to bring the relic here.
Well, they didn't. Not in so many words.
I see. Then, exactly what did they say?
It's difficult to explain. The prophets aren't always clear.
Since they have never spoken to me, I'll have to take your word for it.
In her own indirect way, she's challenging Sisko's truthfulness, and he knows it.
All I know is, for now, it belongs here.
Who am I to argue with the emissary of the prophets?
We focus on the science lab. A frustrated Sisko is talking to Dax about Kai Winn. Dax is working with the computer, checking Bajoran runes on the screen against two pads she carries in her hands.
And then she contacted Starfleet and lodged a formal protest.
Is that why Admiral Ross wanted to talk to you? Well, how'd it go?
He told me to stop meddling in Bajoran affairs and return the damn tablet.
You know how Starfleet feels about this emissary thing. It makes them very uncomfortable that you've allowed the Bajorans to view you as a religious icon. It used to make you uncomfortable too.
Sisko considers, then decides to make his feelings known to his old friend.
Not anymore. I guess the prophets have spoken to me one too many times.
I remember when you used to call them wormhole aliens.
Wormhole aliens or prophets, it really doesn't matter. The fact is, they exist out of time. And over the centuries, they've given the Bajorans glimpses of the future. Glimpses that the Bajorans have written down to help them guide succeeding generations. If whatever is written here can help me avoid mistakes, can help me make the right decisions, then I'd be a fool to ignore it.
Fair enough. But if you don't mind, I'm going to continue to think of them as wormhole aliens.
All I know is that they have a relationship with Bajor that stretches back over 1,000 years. They care about what happens to the Bajorans. They proved that when they kept the Dominion fleet from coming through the wormhole.
Didn't you have to talk them into it? Didn't they say they would exact some kind of penance for helping you?
Yes, but they listened. And they saved Bajor and the rest of the Alpha Quadrant. Now they're asking me for something in return. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm not going to return the tablet until I do. It's the key. I can feel it.
I hope you're wrong about that, Benjamin.
What have you got?
Sisko moves around to see the screen. On the monitor, we see a line of text from the tablet. There are conversion algorithms along the margins of the screen.
The computer has translated part of the inscription. It probably lacks the eloquence of the original passage, but you'll get the gist of it. Here it is in modern Bajoran.
She works the controls and the text transforms into modern Bajoran. It takes a moment for Sisko to read, and when he does, the words disturb him.
The time of reckoning is at hand. The prophets will weep. Their sorrow will consume the gateway to the temple.
Tell me I'm wrong, but isn't the gateway to the temple Deep Space Nine?
We focus on Quark's cafe. Odo and Bashir and Worf walk in and sit down at a table, reacting to Worf's news. It's a slow night. The few Bajorans who have turned out are in a somber mood, preoccupied with the rumors they've heard.
I was just telling you what the translation said. I did not say I believed it.
Well, I'm not worried. If you look hard enough, you'll find a Bajoran prophecy for just about anything. The ancient texts are a tangle of vague contradictions. This one is anything but vague, and Bajoran prophecies have an odd way of coming true. Don't say you believe in this stuff, too.
Quark brings their drinks.
Odo believes in preparing for the worst.
True.
He's as bad as the Bajorans. Business hasn't been this slow since the Dominion was here. You know, I feel I have a civic duty to do something about all this doom and gloom, which is why I want to tell you that I've extended happy hour.
Extended it?
From now on, every hour's happy hour, at least until business picks up. Eat, drink, and be merry.
For tomorrow we die. So, what does the captain say about this?
He's reserving judgment until the computer has finished the translation.
Who knows? The rest of the tablet probably says, go to Quark's. It's happy hour.
I like the way you think, Doctor.
Bashir looks around at his friends and sees that, despite their ambivalence about the prophecy, each of them is troubled to some degree. Truth be told, he's not finding it easy to shake off either.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Nothing's going to happen. Someday we're going to look back to this and laugh. Ha ha.
Suddenly, there's a strange rumble like the sound of approaching thunder. It builds until the room starts to vibrate and shudder. Glasses rattle on tables as people look around, trying to figure out what's going on. A moment later, then it's over.
What was that?
Across the upper promenade, we see the wormhole goes whoosh through a window. The station shakes again and the wormhole closes.
How did that prophecy go again?
The others react, all thinking the same thing. Is this the beginning of the reckoning? We focus on the replomat. Kira and Odo are seated at a table. Kira is picking at some food. She looks up to see Odo patiently washing her.
You don't have to do this, you know.
Don't have to do what?
Sit here. Watch me eat.
I don't mind. In fact, I rather enjoy it. You eat with such gusto most of the time.
Not today.
Kira looks at the food she's hardly touched and puts down her fork.
I just wish that we knew more about the reckoning. It'd give us a better idea of what the prophets want from us.
Seems to me that if the prophets want the Bajoran people to follow a given path, they should provide more specific directions.
It doesn't work like that.
Maybe it should.
The Kai would say you lacked faith.
And you would agree.
I just don't know how people make it through the day without it.
We manage. Besides, I do have faith in some things.
Such as?
You.
Kira nods, pleased.
I'll try not to disappoint you.
We focus on the captain's office. Sisko is talking to Kai Winn.
No doubt you've heard the latest news from Bajor.
About the flooding in Rakantha province? Yes.
There was also an earthquake in the Kendra Valley last night. The morning a tornado struck Tabulna.
Our sensors indicate that Bajor has been affected by the instability of the wormhole.
How comforting. Tell me, do your sensors have an explanation for the instability itself?
No.
Then I'll give you one. You've angered the prophets by taking the tablet from Bajor. As the spiritual leader of the Bajoran people, I'm asking you to return it.
And as the emissary of the prophets, I will ask you to give me more time to study it. I believe it is the will of the prophets.
Well, I disagree. This is a formal request from the First Minister for you to turn over the relic to me.
Sisko takes the pad from Kai Winn and studies it.
You must have been very persuasive. This is the first time you and Shakar have agreed on anything.
If you deny his request, I promise you it will damage relations between the Bajor and the Federation forever.
The tablet will be on its way to Bajor on the morning transport.
As will I.
And with that, she turns and takes her leave. We focus on the science lab. Sisko watches as Dax studies the tablet, checking the inscriptions against a pad in her hand.
You're sending it back? I was just starting to have fun.
You're not off the hook, old man. I need these inscriptions translated.
I can work off the holo recordings I took yesterday.
Have you made any more progress? Good news or bad?
That depends.
On what?
What this ideogram means, the computer has given me 2 possibilities.
They are?
During the reckoning, the Bajorans will either suffer horribly or eat fruit.
Eat fruit.
Given the tone of the rest of the inscriptions, I would bet on horrible suffering.
What else do you have?
You'll love this. It's about you.
Right. Dax indicates some inscriptions near the damaged part of the stone.
Once the reckoning begins, the emissary will...
Go on.
I was hoping you could tell me. The rest of the inscription's damaged.
Sisko lets out an irritated sigh.
That figures.
We hear the approaching rumble, and then the station shudders again.
Oh, I wish the wormhole would stop doing that.
So do I. Keep at it, old man.
Just do me one favor. If you talk to the prophets again, ask for a dictionary, please.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
Sisko exits, leaving Dax to her work. We focus on ops. Kira's at the table. Sisko enters one of the doors.
Captain, I have a message for General Martok.
Go ahead.
He's dispatched 3 Klingon attack cruisers to bolster the defense perimeter around the Durala system.
Good. I just hope they can hold out until Starfleet sends in reinforcements.
The Klingons will hold out. Martok will see to it.
Sisko nods and rubs his tired eyes.
Long day?
They seem to get longer.
You'll be better in the morning once the Kai is off the station.
She may be the spiritual leader of millions of Bajorans, but she is not an easy woman to like.
Well, if it's any comfort, I don't think she likes you either.
I've known that for a while. I guess I should have consulted her before I brought the artifact up to the station.
She would have tried to stop you.
Ah, that's why I didn't ask her.
Kira returns the smile, but we can see that there's more on her mind.
In a way, I feel sorry for her. She spends her whole life in service to the prophets. Then, one day, after years of self-sacrifice and commitment, she gets elected Kai. Gets her reward. It should have been the greatest moment of her life.
But my being the emissary spoiled it for her.
The Kai has always been the spiritual leader of Bajor, but Winn is to share that role with you. And to make matters worse, you're an outsider, a non-Bajoran. That's something she could never forgive you for.
I guess that's why she made such an issue of the whole thing.
She's jealous of you and your relationship with the prophets. I'm a little envious myself.
Why?
You speak with the prophets. They listen to you. That's a rare gift.
It's certainly nothing I asked for.
I guess that's why I don't resent you. But the Kai does.
I'll keep that in mind.
We focus on the promenade, upper level. Kai Winn stares thoughtfully out one of the windows. She seems troubled as she studies the starscape, her focus on the spot where the wormhole appears when it's visible. Her 2 Vedics stand back at a respectful distance. Kira...
Is something wrong, Eminence?
What makes you say that, child?
You seem troubled.
Not at all. I do hate you, by the way. I am quite relieved the emissary has decided to do the right thing.
You didn't leave him much choice, did you?
Winn hears the tone of disapproval in Kira's voice.
I suppose you think I enjoyed forcing his hand. I assure you I did not. I wish the situation had been resolved more amicably. Perhaps the next time we have a disagreement, he'll consider my wishes more thoughtfully.
The next time? You're anticipating more disagreements?
I merely meant to express my hope that in the future we can work together for the good of Bajor.
Of course. After all, you are on the same side, aren't you?
Well, naturally. We both serve the prophets. There is no higher calling.
We focus on Sisko's quarters. Sisko stands at the window, thoughtfully watching the wormhole. The lights in the room are dim.
Yes?
The door opens to reveal Jake. He acts like he's just dropping by, but the truth is he's been worried about his dad ever since they were on Bajor.
Jaco,
You're up late.
so are you. What's on your mind?
I don't know. I guess I wanted to see if you're all right.
I'm fine. Since when did you become a worrier?
I don't know. It's this emissary stuff. It scares me a little.
The two sit down together.
Twice now. Twice in 1 year. Dr. Bashir's called me down to the infirmary to tell me something was wrong with you. And there you were, lying unconscious in a biobed, having visions or something. And all I could do was stand there and wonder if you were going to wake up.
Sisko throws a comforting arm around his son.
I know it hasn't been easy, Jake.
I don't want it to happen again.
You know, I didn't ask to be emissary, but for better or worse, I guess that's what I am. Except for being your dad.
Later that night, Sisko can't sleep. He tosses and turns and decides to get up. We focus on the plant lab. Sisko enters the darkened room. The tablet sits on the examining table. Sisko approaches it, his eyes searching it for some hidden meaning. He reaches out and touches it, half hoping it to be thrown into another vision. Nothing.
Why do you have to be so damned mysterious? Answer me! I'm tired of your riddles. If there's something you need me to do, say so!
Then Sisko picks up the tablet and throws it against a wall. It smashes and vapors rise from the fragments. Some are blue, some are red. They fly off through the ceiling. Uh-oh. The lights are now on, and Dax scans the broken pieces of the tablet with a tricorder. Sisko and Odo look on.
Let me guess. You accidentally knocked it over.
Not exactly.
I didn't think so.
So what did happen?
I just had this uncontrollable urge to smash the tablet.
Oh, I get those urges all the time. Of course, I never act on them. I'm not reading any residual energy signatures.
That's impossible. Check the station's internal sensors.
Odo complies by manipulating a console and observing the result.
Nothing.
I tell you, I saw something.
We believe you, Captain.
Oh, please, Constable, don't patronize me.
Suddenly, the lights dim and various consoles fritz. A moment passes and then the lights brighten and the consoles come back online. Our people exchanged puzzled looks over this unusual occurrence.
Sisko to Ops. Report.
We just experienced a station-wide power drain. We are attempting to determine the source.
Keep me informed.
Aye, sir.
Sisko, Dax, and Odo exchange a look.
It's possible the power drain is related to this energy discharge you saw.
I'm starting to think the same thing.
Sisko studies the broken fragment he's holding.
Benjamin, you're not getting another urge, are you?
No, I've done what I needed to do. I know this might sound strange, but I think the prophets wanted me to shatter the tablet.
Try explaining that to Kai Winn.
We focus on the captain's office. Sisko stands before the Kai. He's just finished explaining what happened, and Winn is stunned.
I can't believe that you'd be so petty as to destroy the artifact rather than turn it over to me.
That's not why I did it.
You expect me to believe that the prophets wanted you to destroy a priceless piece of Bajor's history?
That's exactly what you have to believe.
I'm trembling. And why would they do that?
I wish I had an answer for you.
Well, I'm sure you'll come up with something.
The Kai's judgmental attitude piques Sisko's temper, but he knows on a visceral level that he's right, and he wants her to understand. He pulls back and reins in his emotions.
You and I haven't always seen things eye to eye, but we have one thing in common. We both believe that the prophets have a plan for Bajor. Sometimes it's not easy to see the path they've laid out for us. Right now, I don't know what they want from me, but I'm willing to take a leap of faith and trust that they're guiding me. And I'm asking you to take that leap with me.
The Kai is struck by Sisko's faith in her gods, but she can't see her way to admitting it.
There is no need for a leap of faith. Emissary, the prophets have made it quite clear. 2/3 of the Rakantha wheat harvest have been destroyed by floods. Earthquakes have devastated Kendra province, leaving hundreds homeless. Bajorans are suffering because of you. They're paying the price because of your act of sacrilege.
As if to emphasize her words, the lights in the room dim and the monitors flicker. This time, they don't recover, and the room stays dark. Sisko is reaching for his comm badge when Odo's voice comes over the comm system.
Odo to Captain Sisko.
Go ahead.
You'd better come down to the promenade, sir.
Is there a problem?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
We focus on the promenade. Sisko and the Kai enter from the turbolift opposite security to find Odo and 4 deputies looking down the promenade. The lights are also dimmed and the monitors all show static. Strangely, a light breeze blows through the promenade, causing the banners hanging from the ceiling to flutter softly.
I think we found the source of the power fluctuations.
Kira is standing in the doorway of the Bajoran shrine, her eyes unnaturally bright. Her hair is disheveled and blown by the breeze. Her body has a hint of luminescence about it. Bluish energy discharges emerge from the doorway and disappear into her body, as if she's drawing power from her very surroundings.
When I tried to talk to her, she ignored me.
Possessed Kira comes over to Sisko and Winn. A strong wind blows down the promenade. Lights flash and explode. It's Kira.
What's that?
What's happening?
You are the Sisko.
A couple of Odo's deputies instinctively drop their hands to their holstered weapons.
Keep your hands off your weapons. It's a prophet. Why have you taken this woman's body?
The vessel is willing. The reckoning. It is time.
The reckoning, what is it?
The end. Or the beginning.
I don't understand.
The Kira prophet cocks her head and looks into the distance.
I await Kosst Amojan.
Sisko doesn't know what this means, but the Kai's eyes widen in recognition.
The evil one! A Paw Wraith banished from the Celestial Temple.
You're saying a paw wraith will take corporeal form as well?
The battle will be joined.
This battle, is it to be fought here?
Bajor will be reborn.
Shabran's fifth prophecy, the rebirth. If the evil one is destroyed, it will bring 1,000-year peace, the golden age of Bajor.
If it is destroyed?
Who will prevail is unknown.
Odo reacts, fearing for Kira's safety. Sisko turns to possessed Kira.
What do you want from me? Am I supposed to help you in some way?
The Sisko has completed his task.
Overwhelmed with emotion, the Kai steps forward and bows her head before the Kira prophet, her eyes welling with tears.
Forgive my blindness.
Kira prophet ignores the Kai and continues to stare at Sisko. The Kai desperately appeals for recognition.
Prophet, hear me. I am the Kai of Bajor. I offer myself to you as your humble servant.
Kira prophet ignores the Kai and continues to stare at Sisko.
I await their vessel.
And with that, the wind stops and the promenade lights stop flickering. Her eyes dull and she stands silent and very still.
Speak to me. Tell me what I should do.
No reaction. The Kai is crestfallen. She continues to kneel and stare at Kira, too numb to do anything else. We focus on Ops. Sisko, Odo, Dax, Worf, Bashir, and Kai Winn are gathered around the Ops table. Sisko has just finished explaining the situation to the others, and they aren't happy about what they've heard.
We're evacuating.
You can't be serious.
The battle could destroy the station.
Then don't let it be fought here.
I don't have any choice.
Yes, you do. We can flood the promenade with chronoton radiation.
Are you suggesting we kill a prophet?
I won't do that.
Bashir steps forward. Clearly, he and the others have discussed this option amongst themselves.
You don't have to. If you ramp up the chronoton level slowly, it'll give the wormhole alien a chance to leave Kira's body without getting hurt.
We have everything rigged and ready to go. Just say the word.
No.
Benjamin.
Deep Space Nine is critical to the defense of the Federation. We cannot risk destroying it.
When the Dominion fleet was about to come through the wormhole, I asked the prophets for their help. They gave it to me. Now they're asking for my help. They need to fight this battle here, now. I'm not going to jeopardize my crew, but I'm not going to stand in the way of the prophets either.
What if the prophets lose? Are you willing to sacrifice Kira?
The prophet said she was willing to be their instrument.
And you believe that?
Odo, who has been brooding while the others talk, suddenly speaks up.
I do. I know how important her faith is to her. I have no doubt she will allow the prophets to use her as their instrument.
A moment of silence as they all realize this is true.
I'll notify Starfleet we're abandoning the station. Begin the evacuation immediately.
Sisko heads for his office. The crew watch him go, and we can tell they're not happy about the captain's decision. We focus on the airlock. Worf and Odo are shepherding people to the escape vessels.
Hurry along now. Hurry along.
Is this transport full?
There's room. I'm going to check the promenade for stragglers.
Odo, you should have helped us. Persuade the captain to end this.
I had to respect Kira's wishes.
If it were Dax, I'm not sure I could have done the same.
Just be grateful you didn't have to make that choice.
Worf looks at him with a new level of respect.
For your sake, I hope the prophets are victorious.
They will be, if Kira has anything to do with it.
Come on.
We focus on Ops. As Sisko enters from his office, Dax and Worf are at their stations.
Report.
We expect to be down to a skeleton crew within the hour.
Very well.
What did Starfleet have to say?
I managed to convince them that we couldn't afford to defy the prophets.
They're the only thing that's keeping the Dominion from coming through the wormhole.
The only problem is there's no guarantee the prophets will win this battle.
Odo to Sisko.
Go ahead, Constable.
Captain, there's a group of Bajorans on the promenade who are refusing to leave.
We focus on the promenade. About 20 Bajorans are kneeling on the promenade. Kai Winn stands in the doorway to the temple, arms outstretched, leading them in prayer. The Kai has carefully placed herself between the faithful and Kira in order to share the prophet's spotlight. Kira remains hauntingly oblivious.
Teradak Embra Itsalam Ran Embra. Teradak Itsalam Ran Embra.
Sisko and Odo observe the spectacle from nearby.
The last transports are standing by.
Teradak Itsalam Ran Embra.
Sisko approaches the Kai.
Eminence?
Emissary?
Sisko isn't interested in challenging the Kai, so he pitches his voice low.
These people have to go.
Winn doesn't appreciate having her moment interrupted by Sisko. She keeps a smile on her face in case anyone's looking.
We are offering prayers for the prophet's victory.
The prophets will hear your prayers wherever you are. It isn't safe here.
Winn stands firm, determined not to let Sisko upstage her. She smiles reasonably.
Then why are you still here, emissary? The prophets told you your task was done.
I am captain of this station, and I will do everything in my power to save it. Now, are you going to tell these people to go, or shall I?
Winn realizes that Sisko means it. She turns toward her flock, determined to be in control of the moment.
My children, the prophets have heard your prayers. You must go.
As the worshippers stand, Sisko turns to Odo.
Take them to the transports.
All right, this way.
Congratulations, emissary. Thanks to you, the prophet's victory is at hand.
I hope you're right.
Where is your faith? Emissary, you don't think the evil one will be victorious, do you? Rest assured, the golden age is upon us. The prophets and the people will be as one. Think of it. There will be no need for Vedics or Kais or even emissaries.
Suddenly, the wind whips up again, and some lights flicker.
Kosst Amojan has chosen its vessel.
On the upper level, a young man leans over the rail, electricity sparking from his fingers. His voice is deep and croaky, and his eyes glow red. It's Jake.
Let it begin.
Kira and Jake, Prophet and Alraith, now stand about 20 feet apart, their eyes focused intently on each other. The Kai watches the momentous confrontation with a mixture of awe and fear. Sisko steps forward.
Leave my son and take me instead.
Your emissary offers himself to us. His faith wavers.
Jake throws Sisko back along the promenade with a wave. Energy plays over the possessed bodies, blue for good on Kira and red for bad on Jake. Then a stream of energy comes out, and each of them and collides midway. The battle is joined. Veins stand out on both combatants' foreheads under the effort.
Emissary, we must go.
But Sisko shakes her off, his eyes glued to the terrible thing taking place before his eyes. If the prophet wins, if good triumphs over evil, Jake dies. Kira's nose starts to bleed. Jake is suffering. Dax comes out of the turbo lift.
Benjamin, Worf is standing by in ops. He can trigger the chronotron generator at your command. You can still end this, Ben.
Information turns to see what Sisko will do. He's torn. Looks out at Jake.
No, I've got to play this thing out.
That is your son out there.
Don't you think I know that? The prophets will protect him.
They're trying to kill him.
No, they're trying to destroy the Paw Wraith. The prophets will not let anything happen to him.
How do you know that?
I know.
Dax backs off, hoping he's right. Deep in the Kai's chilly heart, she's moved by Sisko's faith.
Get out of here. There's energy building between them can explode any second.
Sisko stares at Jake and shakes his head.
I'm not going to leave Jake here.
We must go, emissary.
Benjamin!
Get out of here. Get off the station, both of you. That's an order.
Come, child. We must go.
Dax reluctantly allows herself to be pulled away. They move to the airlock, and as they step inside, we focus on the corridor. Dax and the Kai move quickly down the passageway. Dax hits her comm badge.
Dax to Worf.
Go ahead.
Meeting airlock 8. We're leaving.
Dax and the Kai come off of a turbo lift onto another corridor. There's a woman and children scared by the exploding fittings.
Go on ahead. Airlock 8 is down to the right.
Dax stops and helps the woman as the Kai moves on.
This way! Move quickly! Let's go! Come on! Hurry up now!
Dax picks up a child.
It's okay. It's okay.
Winn reaches an intersection. She pauses, turns to see if Dax is watching. A moment passes, then she makes a decision. She heads against traffic, away from the airlock. We focus on the promenade. Electricity crackles over the outside of the station as runabouts leave. The two combatants are reaching the end of their strength, but possessed Jake looks the worst of the pair for wear. Then something happens.
No!
It takes Sisko a moment to realize what's happened. Someone is engaging the chronoton generator. We focus on ops. The Kai is standing alone by the control console, her eyes moist with tears.
Chronoton levels at 37% and rising. May the prophets forgive me.
We focus on the promenade. The energy streams from the possessed pair fade and die. The spirits leave Jake and Kira, who collapse. Kira wakes quickly, but Sisko cradles his son.
Jake.
For a terrible moment, it looks as if Jake might be dead. Then the autonomic functions kick in and he draws a gasping breath. Relief washes over Sisko and he pulls his son close, rocking him tenderly in his arms.
Captain's log, supplemental. The station's population has returned and repairs are underway. Major Kira has recovered from her experience, but my son is still in the infirmary.
We focus on the infirmary.
Jake.
Bashir checks some readings on a pad and looks up at Sisko.
He'll be laid up for a few days, but he'll be all right.
May I see him?
Oh, yes.
Sisko moves to the biobed room. Jake lies on the biobed, covered with a blanket. His eyes are closed, and he looks very weak.
Jake?
Dad?
How are you feeling?
Could be worse.
You'll be up and about in no time. I don't know what to say.
Say you're happy to see me.
You know I am.
A pregnant silence as Sisko struggles to say what's weighing on his conscience.
Jake, I want to explain what happened, but I'm not sure I can.
Sisko closes his eyes, unable to look at his son.
You don't have to explain. When the Pyrath was inside me, I could feel it was hatred, and I knew that no matter what, I could be allowed to win, even if it meant I had to die. You did the right thing.
Jake pulls him close, just like his father's done for him so many times, and holds him. Just holds him. We focus on the promenade. Life is returning to normal. Kira enters from the temple and catches sight of Odo making his way past. They meet up.
How was the prayer service?
To tell you the truth, I didn't pay that much attention. I'm still trying to make sense of everything that happened. Of all the people on this station, the prophets chose me. I'm not sure why I deserve that honor.
Perhaps that's why you were chosen. You have faith and humility.
Kira wants him to know something.
I heard that you told the captain that I was willing to give my life to serve the prophets. I appreciate that you respect my beliefs.
Just the same, I wouldn't have minded if the prophets had chosen someone else.
Kira smiles.
I have to go. I'll drop by security after I take the Kai to her shuttle.
Kira kisses Odo lightly on the cheek and leaves.
Mwah!
Odo watches her exit down the promenade. Happy. We focus on a corridor. Kai, Winn, and Kira walk and talk on their way to the airlock.
So the emissary couldn't escort me himself?
He's with his son.
Winn mulls this over for a moment as they walk.
Sorry. I would think he would want to thank me.
For what?
I prevented the destruction of the station. I saved the emissary's life and the life of his son.
Don't pretend you did it for the captain.
I did it for Bajor. If you haven't heard, the floodwaters have receded and the earthquakes have stopped.
And you're going to take credit for that?
I take it as a sign I did the right thing.
Kira can't believe what she's hearing.
You defied the will of the prophets, and you did it because you couldn't stand the fact that a human, an infidel, had a stronger faith than you. The emissary was willing to sacrifice his own son to serve the prophets.
My faith is as pure as the emissaries.
I think you're confusing faith with ambition.
Winn has heard enough.
I'm not confusing anything. You are, child. The prophets chose you as their instrument. That doesn't mean you can speak for them.
Because of your interference, the reckoning was stopped. The evil still exists. And I'm not even sure if the prophets know what that will mean for Bajor.
For once, Winn is speechless. Her features falter as she realizes Kira's right. After a silent moment, she pulls her robes tighter and, mustering as much dignity as she can, exits through the airlock.
Oh, child.
And that concludes our reading of Star Trek Radio Theater Deep Space Nine's The Reckoning. Just bringing out all the cast here is that the group is anxious to get moving over here. It was a longer read, almost an hour. We were up on that recording. That was a lot of fun. I apologize for maybe some missteps I took. So I had a sound effect that I didn't program into the board, but it was like really great. It was gonna be like a 10-second clip of Kira like blowing up stuff, but I didn't have it programmed, and then I tried to grab it, but then everyone's like, "What's happening?" And I got really pressured that I just went with it. So I'm sorry for that. But that was what that was. Okay, and so we hope you enjoyed that. I just want to give big props to all the performers in the cast. Let's bring them out. I'm Dave. I was playing the role of Kira, as well as I played one man who was going, "Come on along now," in the hallways as they were evacuating the station. Behind me here, Jeff Mader, my brother, was playing the part of Kai Winn. He also had a line as the computer. I'm just going to bring you in my keep it here on the screen. Jessica Chan playing the role of Jadzia, Dax, and Quark. In our next feed here, we have Ashley and Kevin Millard, who played several roles between the two of them. Ashley playing the narrator, as well as two Ranjen Koral and another a priest, and Kevin Millard playing the role of Ben Sisko. And playing his son was Mott Tyrell, who was also playing Worf as well in that episode. So and Jane, I did mention you, right? Jane, oh, I did. Of course I did. Jane playing the role of Dr. Bashir and Odo. Sorry, it's because of the visuals. You're not on the same camera, so that's how I just mentally remember things. So yes, great job, everybody. How do you guys feel about it?
It was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Fine. Mott, what did you think for your second time doing this?
I just feel like I wish I practiced even more during the week, because it's so nerve wracking. I have all these different voices I want to do, and then just even knowing I have two characters this week,
right.
I was going to have to keep them straight, but then between the two characters, then the one character has his prophet voice, and then he has his possessed voice.
Yeah.
So
I didn't really know what to do with that, because in the show they have a modulation on the voice to make that effect, and there was a narration that I edited out where it was Kira's voice has an echo, but I was I don't know how to do that.
Oh, and I was about to do something cool, that would just been I am Zool, or something like that.
Echo.
I should have.
There is no Kira, only Zool.
There is no Kira, only Zool.
That's why I kept thinking when she got possessed, as well, when she was possessed tonight, that was the first thing I thought of was, there's no Kira.
I did what you did. I wish, because I have to debut my possessed character before yours, and I just did it as kind of normal, but I wish I had done what you did.
At least it's just something different. Anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Different. And I was trying to do Miss Piggy. I am not going to say that was Miss Piggy. That was inspired maybe by Yoda, Miss Piggy, and in Quark, and maybe other characters. I don't know. It was not a particular voice I did for Kira, because I said it, and then I looked at Jen and was like, "Fuck. I that's not Piggy," but now I've created this new version, and I was I have to stick to it. So now I talk like this, and so whatever.
That's kind of Miss Piggy. It's good.
Kind of, but not quite. What's a dead ringer for it, for sure.
Is a good spiritual successor to the Wicked Witch of the West, Kira.
Yes.
I thought they meshed very well. It was a good.
Good.
Yeah.
It's like the Wicked Witch took a Valium or something.
It was like Glenda the Good Witch, and I was kind of like the Wicked Witch a little
bit.
Right.
Yeah. But it was the reversal of who was actually good. Did anybody have a favorite among the group tonight?
No.
Okay, well, I one thing I enjoyed in particular was actually I thought Kevin and Jessica as Sisko and Dax was their scenes were really good banter and energy back and forth there. I thought there was some good stuff there with Kevin and Mott with the father-son stuff. You're like, "Hey, Dad," when you're.
It's kind of fun playing it straight a little, because then you can put a little more emotion and nuance into the the lines and stuff, rather than focusing on doing the funny voice, which makes it hard to do the emotion behind what's going on. So
I think I could if I did it during the week, and didn't just
But then this show becomes your entire life.
right. And just
We didn't rehearse, so we
prepared a
might as well
little.
just turn pro and
I'll turn on the episode and get some like background stuff and like fast forward, rewind a little bit, but like if I don't have the balls to sit there and actually really apply
Shave
myself.
my head. I
comment here.
shaved my head once. My mom looked at me and went, "I can't even look at you." So I'm.
Comment here from Phyllis. Says, thanks everyone. That was excellent. Everybody was great. Strong performances all around. Kevin, I'm happy to see you didn't shave your head to get into character. Make a bow, everyone. Is that what you were worried about? That you were actually going to shave your head when you?
I'm telling you, it's the first time my mom has ever looked at me and just went, "Oh."
I used to buzz my head like down to the wood, whatever, as they say. Like,
I did that one time.
My mom was like, "Ugh," and a lot of people would just say, "That's not a good look."
More comfortable.
It's comfortable, but I agree. It depends. If you have the right head for it, it's fine.
I don't.
Head shape.
She's right.
Avery
I
Brooks
don't.
with the head who can. So if he's a bald man, he can do it.
Was it Jeff that had like a couple parts that were close together? Him being the same part back to back, two different characters.
The computer, yeah.
No, actually, no. Jane was like I was. That was another big favorite moment of mine. Was when the first time you went from Bashir to Odo in like in the opening scene, like when they're in the conference room, and it was just like I think you can even hear some laughs if you listen back, where we're just like, oh, okay, that's Bashir, that's Odo.
Oh no.
No, it was good. It was good. It was like, oh no, you changed characters.
Did I change? Yeah. I thought they were close. So I'm like,
no, you changed character. Like that's what you want to do, and you got more than one voice to do. Hopefully, so that everyone understands it's different. Did you guys understand that my Kira was not the same as my man in the hallway who was like, "Come along, no!"
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I know there was a
Distinct, yeah.
I feel like that's a character I didn't know was in me, but now I want that character to play.
You want to do the next one?
Whenever my character is, it'll be like, "Come along now, let's move it along." I don't know what that is yet. I don't know where I got that. But
it doesn't need to be anything, Dave.
It kind of reminds me of. Did you guys ever watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Oh yeah.
The lion.
Long time ago.
Move it along. Move it.
Go along home. A la Moraine.
Oh my God.
Well, I think we're going to sign off from the air here. That was a great, fun time. We're going to be back next week. What's next week? I think we're doing Next Gen, right?
Next Gen.
Is
Next Gen, yeah.
Order. So we'll be coming to you with an episode from Next Generation. Who knows what it will be? Not one we've done so far. So hope you'll tune in for that next weekend. Jeff's gone.
That was the greatest exit ever.
Yeah, he's like Dave's got to plug a million
Jazz
things.
hands.
Yeah, but and so we hope you all like that. Here on Live Long and Podcast, we do Star Trek podcasts all through the week. This Radio Theater is a special one we do, but then we also do Tuesday nights, Deep Space Nine rewatches. We're in just into the start of season 2, going on to the 5th episode this week. We're doing Wednesdays original series episode rewatches, which I think we're doing. Can't remember which one we're doing next, but check that out. We watch like a random original series episode, and it's a lot of fun. We just break that all down, and then Thursdays we do Star Trek Lower Decks, which is just finishing up the first season, and we're covering every episode of that, heading into the 9th of the 10th episodes, 2 more to go. And Star Trek Discovery will be kicking up in just a couple more weeks, as we'll be covering that here on Thursdays as well. Also, tomorrow here on our other channel called Trivial Debates, we have our first ever tag team triple threat matchup where we're going to have Ashley hosting, and we're going to have Jody and Kevin versus Chris and Jamil versus myself and Jeff. So check that out. We got some great questions. Like what the movie question is, what movie should have gotten a sequel, what didn't. TV is what, I don't want to go through all of them, but we got some great questions in there. And check that out over on our other channel called Trivial Debates. And we also have our other channel, which is called Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, where Jeff, Jamil, and I, Ian's back with the lightsaber. We talk about Big Brother 3 times a week. We also do Survivor watches, and we also have done Westworld. So make sure to check all of that out. And subscribe to all of our great content. I want to thank all of the performers, Mott, Ashley, Kevin, Jane and Jeff. Great job, everybody. And we'll sign up tonight. But the group here will stay on and we'll do our little draft to figure out what episode we're doing next. Okay. Live long in podcast. Peace and long life.